Let's do a deeper dive now into the sale of the Lakers to Mark Walter and what that might mean for the success of the purple and gold moving forward. Let's bring in Mike Vornukov. He covers the business side of the NBA for The Athletic. Mike, great to have you. Let's start with a broad question. How optimistic should Laker fans be by the sale?
I would say pretty optimistic. They've had a lot to be happy about over the last 46 years that the Buss family has owned the team. So to say that they should be optimistic, I think maybe it gives you an indication of how Mark Walter has run the Dodgers during his time in control of that organization.
Now, you recently wrote an article and you said for all the success that the Lakers have enjoyed over the last 4+ decades, it is a flawed franchise. Explain that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, look, the results obviously speak for themselves. 11 NBA titles since Jerry Buss bought the team in 1979. They won a title in 2020 with Jeannie Buss as the governor after her father died, more than a decade ago now. But across the league, it's not as if the Lakers have been seen by other teams and agents as one of the most well-run organizations in the NBA. They've obviously had their down periods. They've had their public, bouts of strife and infighting that I think are well known by now. And they haven't been known as one of the largest spending teams on, the front office, on their employees, all the stuff that makes up a basketball team. That's not just the players. And so if Mark Walters completes the sale and he takes over this organization, if what he has done with the Dodgers is an indication of how he'll run the Lakers, you could see a large investment in all the stuff that matters for a team and where that you can win on the margins coming to LA to help the swagger that the Lakers have always carried that's been able to enable them to, sign and trade for one superstar after another, despite the flaws that they do have.
Let's go a little deeper into that, because in baseball, there is no salary cap. There is, a suggested amount that we'd like you to spend, but if you go over that, it's okay. You'll just be taxed, essentially. In fact, I believe the threshold, $240 million this past season, and the Dodgers spent $320 million. So what? It's just money. That's not the case in the NBA. There is a soft salary cap, so it's going to be restrictive. So how can he use his money in other ways to make the team better?
Yeah, I mean, in baseball, as you said, there's kind of like some thresholds they don't want you to go over, and the Dodgers have ignored that. They're spending I think $476 million in total on salary plus luxury tax payments in baseball. In the NBA, the new CBA is even a lot more strict than baseball's is, although technically it is still a soft salary cap. A lot of teams and a lot of people kind of see this second apron as a bit of a hard cap, and along with the roster building restrictions that it brings, there's strict tax penalties and luxury tax penalties and repeater tax, all that stuff. But this is where somebody like Mark Walter can come in and know that he can spend unabated on everything but the players, right? We've seen that with the Dodgers, where they've hired a lot of top-end talent. They hired Andrew Friedman when he was a sitting GM, right? When he already had a job with the Tampa Bay Rays, and hired him to run the Dodgers, hiring arguably the best executive in baseball, if not all of sports. And they've really staffed up with a lot of talent across the front office and their R&D, their player development, all the innovative stuff that they've done to make the Dodgers a really good team and a sustainably great team, where it's not just spending on player salary. It's the other stuff that I think makes the Dodgers the best organization in baseball and one of the best across sports. And for the Lakers, who have been run more as like a mom and pop organization under the Buss family, and who have a reputation across the NBA as kind of being one of the cheaper organizations out there, and how they pay their own front office talent. Like, if they're now going to spend like the big market team that they are, you could have a best of both worlds situation where it's a team that gets to act with ingenuity and, like the Thunder are, right, in their small market, but now gets all the largesse of being in LA and all the rewards that can bring them. And that's kind of a situation what the Lakers haven't seen before, I think, and really the NBA hasn't seen before, because the biggest markets in the NBA, LA, Chicago, the Knicks, they have not been exceptionally well run over the last few decades.
You bring up some really good points there, because I think when people look at the Dodgers and what Mark Walter has done, they look at the player salaries and how much he spent on Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto and all that. but they don't look at the innovation, and they don't look at the analytics and the player development and all of those things. And as you mentioned, bringing in Andrew Friedman, poaching him from the Tampa Bay Rays, and going out and getting Stan Kasten and putting GM-level bodies into important positions. So all that being said, if you apply that to the Lakers, how nervous should Rob Pollinka be right now?
I think that's a complicated question to answer. When Walter and his group bought the bought the Dodgers in 2012, right? They didn't fire Don Mattingly immediately. They didn't fire Ned Colletti immediately, right? They gave them a runway to try to win, to try to have success before they were ultimately replaced. And I think that they're going to give everyone in the Lakers organization a runway right now too, right? One, we know that Jeannie Buss is going to stay on as the governor of the team for a number of years. I think Rob Pollinka will get a long runway to continue some of the success that he's had with the Lakers. He won a title, 5 years ago now, right? JJ Redick is going to get some runway to continue as the Lakers head coach. And so I don't think this is a case where Mark Walter wants to come in and start firing people. I think this is probably a case where he wants to come in, evaluate, see what's going on. And if there's enough success to sustain everyone there, then I think he'll keep them until he feels like there isn't anymore.
Let's talk about the big picture for the NBA. What does this sale mean for the future of the NBA? In fact, in your most recent article, you wrote that this may signal a turning of the page, a new era for the NBA. Explain that.
Yeah, and we've seen that happen over the last five years or so. Since 2019, 1/3 of the NBA is under new ownership, right? That's crazy amount of turnover. We haven't seen that in any other professional sport in North America that's had that kind of ownership turnover like the NBA has. And the people coming in now are obviously exceptionally wealthy, right? But they're also coming from private equity, from tech, from other forms of finance, and they're running their organizations in a way that I think they ran their companies. They want more analytics. They want more strategy involved. They are trying to modernize their front offices to reflect that. And so it's also making it harder for the long-running family organizations that have owned NBA teams for a while and just can't keep up, whether that's financially or in changing their front offices to reflect the realities of the league now. And so, this is where I think Mark Walter can come in, and he can, not only join that pack in the NBA, but he can perhaps lead it. Again, if how he has run the Dodgers is an indication of the way that he tends to do things with the Lakers as well, because you're putting together what could be like one of the smartest front offices with the financial heft of being in LA, right? And all the revenue that bring in that can drive and help you innovate and do all those things. And so I think there's going to be an arms race across the NBA in the front office. We've seen that a little bit already. And that can only escalate in the next few years or over the next decade or whatever it is. And the Lakers can be one of the teams, if not the team, leading that. If history is, history is a reflection of what the future could look like.
Sounds like the future is very bright for the purple and gold. Hey, Mike, we appreciate you joining us today. It was fun talking a little hoops and a little business with you as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Who knew we'd be talking about the Lakers in the finals this year?